Okay, hi, hello students. Welcome to another video. I'm going to do the workbook unit 13 with you. Okay, so it's going to be a little messy here, so let's look at what we need to do first. Okay, so for those who are using the workbook just directly, it's very easy. We're going to do pages 52 and 53, pages 54 and 55. Okay, so I'm going to do two videos, I think. One is for part 1, 52 to 53, and then another part for 54 and 55. Okay, so let's look at uh, where are these pages from. So the first part is page 52 and 53 is from week 25 material. So if you are using the email ones, they are from week 25. Okay, they look like this. Okay, so they look like this one here and this one here and this one. Okay, and this one. Right, so this is pages, these are pages 52 to 53. Okay, that's for part 1. And then, so for part 2 is in another slide. Okay, so I need to share it with you before we look at it. So the other one, page 54 and 55, and this one here contains one listening part, so I need to go through that one with you. So page 54 to 55, if you're using the email materials, they are from week 26. Okay, so here it looks like this. Okay, so you have writing here, and on page 54, you have reading here on page 54, and then listening is on page 55. It looks like this. Okay, TV interview, and then are the sentences right or wrong? Okay, and then there's also writing here, report about a questionnaire. Okay, so we didn't really do this one in class. I'll try to go through this one with you in detail. All right, this is for page 55. Okay. All right, so if we're ready, let's do the first one, which is pages 52 to 53, right? Okay, so let's do this. All right, so the first one here is on the words that we learned in this unit, the vocabulary one. Okay, if you need to, you can go back to your student's book on page 76, right? Just let me show you here. Okay, on page 76. Okay, if you have the book, right? So, or the worksheets, they should look the same. So this one with the pictures, right? The words are down here in activity 1. Okay, page 70. Oops, here. Page 76 in your student's book. Okay, so if you need to, you need to go back there and have a look. You may go back there and have a look. Otherwise, if you have attempted the questions, let's just go through the answers. Okay, so we choose the nouns which don't go with the verbs and phrases. Sometimes more than one answer is possible. Okay, so there are things that you cannot do with like here in the example, you climb. So which ones you cannot climb? You can climb a mountain, you can climb a tree, but you can't climb the sea. You can swim in the sea. So the one that you cannot do is B. All right. So circle the ones that don't go with the word climb. Okay, in this example. All right. Next one, kayak down. So we know kayak is like a small boat. You need water. You need something with water. Okay, so definitely you can't kayak down a cave or kayak down a hill, right? These two are generally dry and rocky. Right. Next one, pick. Can you pick wild fruit or wild eggs or wild birds? Right. Definitely not wild eggs and wild birds. Okay. They won't let you pick them up anyway, wild birds. And in some countries like the UK, it's illegal to pick to collect wild eggs, okay? Collect eggs that are in nests, right? It's illegal to do that. It's cruel. They might be hatching soon, and the parents' bird might be very sad if you take their eggs away. It's like taking the children away, you know. Number three, camp. All right, so where can you camp? Can you camp in the forest, under the stars, or in a hotel? So it's definitely you don't camp in the hotel. If you're staying in a hotel, you don't need to camp there anymore. All right. Number four, where can you play? Can you play in the sea, in the snow, or in the sky? Okay, so definitely not in the sky. Okay. Next one, number five, explore. Can you explore an animal, explore a forest, or explore a cave? Okay, definitely not an animal. Okay, so don't explore an animal, it might bite you. Okay, next one, look for something at the beach. So what can you look for? Can you look for fossils, fruit, or flowers? Okay, so usually the beach does not really have many trees there. Even if they do have, you can't really find any fruit or flowers on the trees, and they are not edible anyway, most probably poisonous. So yes, we don't usually look for fruit and flowers at the beach. Fossils, yes, seashells embedded in the rock. Sometimes if you are lucky, you can find a dinosaur bone or an egg or something called trilobites. They are very small sea animals that got fossilized in the sand. Number seven, okay, what can you track? Can you track wild fruit, wild animals, or fossils? So definitely you can't track fruit. Fruits do not move on the ground, okay? And fossils are remains of dead animals, so they can't move also, right? When we track something, we follow them, okay? So definitely we can track wild animals, find their footprints in the ground, on the ground, and follow them. Number eight, try climbing. So which one can you climb? Climb a mountain, climb a forest, or climb rocks? So only the forest, you don't climb it, okay? You can try rock climbing or mountain climbing. Number nine, okay, what can you record? A tree, a cave, or a bird song? So here in this case, we know record is always audio. So a tree and a cave has no sound by themselves. So you can't record them. You can record a bird song, okay? All right. So here, these are answers that you put on your own. They are true about yourself. Okay, there are no fixed answers. Which activities and exercise one can you do near where you live? So, oops. First one, okay. Example. I'll just give an example here. Which one can you do where near you live? So, example, I can go camping, for example. Okay. I can camp in a forest, okay, at forest campsite. So this is just an example. You can change this one here. This is true. I can camp in a forest at Permai Rainforest campsite. So there is a campsite in this place here called Permai Rainforest. Okay, maybe some of you have been there before, right? Number two, which activities are you planning to do this year? So you see here is asking you, are you planning to do? So you can just answer anyone. So I'll just put an example. I'm planning, okay, to let's see here. Okay, maybe I say look for fossils at the beach. Oh, okay, and then it says which activity. So I need to put at least two. I'm planning to look for fossils at the beach and maybe record bird song. Okay. So these are the two activities I want to do this year. Okay. Of course, you can change them. This is just an example. Number three, which activities do you think are dangerous? So during our class discussion, some of you told me, yes, some of the activities you won't want to participate in because you think they are dangerous. So maybe I can just mention it here. I think rock climbing, okay, rock climbing, and what else? Kayaking, okay, down a river are dangerous. So of course you can change the two activities here. You can change rock climbing and kayaking down a river. These two, you can change them to something else that you think are dangerous, okay? But the rest of the sentence is this one. I think something and something are dangerous. All right. So as usual, these are just examples. You can write down my example if you want to, if you don't have ideas. But the best thing is you must, if you have your own ideas, you must write them down, okay, according to your ideas, okay, what is true about you. Right, so if you need time to write down your answers, you may pause the video at this point. Okay, if you're done, let's move on to the next page. Right, so this is grammar, present perfect with ever and never. Remember the rule I told you about? When should we use ever or never? Okay, so the general rule is questions. You can use the words have you ever. Okay, have you ever? Okay, we don't use ever in statements. Okay, instead we just use the present participle, present perfect, sorry, the present perfect. You just say, okay, I've done this before, I've bungee jumped before, I've kayaked down a river before, I've camped in a forest before. Okay, so just like that. Okay, or you can use the word never if you have not done it before. So like, I've never kayaked down a river, I've never slept under the stars, camped under the stars, I've never eaten sea urchin before, right? So yes, okay, you can use the word never in statements, but you cannot use the word ever in statements. Okay, so here, let me see, let me write, don't use ever in statements. Okay, so the tip here is don't use the word ever in statements. Okay, just either the word never or just use the present perfect. Okay, I've done this before, I've gone here before, I've gone there before, or I've never been there, I've never gone there. Okay, don't use ever in statements. It's not the opposite of never. Okay, all right. Now let's look at this one here. What should you do? Complete the sentences with the past participle of the form of the verbs in the box. So for example, like the word camp, we need to change it first. Becomes camped, right? Explore becomes explored. So just add a D here. And then listen becomes listened. Listened, ED. Play becomes played, okay. Visit becomes visited, and watch becomes watched. Okay, so here, now that we have changed these words to their correct past participle form, we can put them in these sentences here. So first one, I've never something to jazz. So jazz is a type of music, a genre of music. So it's most probably this one, okay? I've never listened to jazz. Right, number two. Oh, okay, I forgot to give you a time to pause, right? If you need to, you can pause the video if you haven't attempted this one and you want to attempt it. So yes, okay. Or if you have attempted, then you can just continue with the video and I'll check the answers with you. Okay, so if you have attempted, let me go on. Question number two, my parents have never, here he said, me play in a tennis tournament. So the answer is watched, right? So most probably maybe this person lives very far away from the parents, so the parents have no chance to watch him or her play in a tennis tournament. Number three, Richard has never something here me in my new home. Okay, it's a new home, so some people hasn't seen it yet. So visited. Richard has never visited me. Number four, I have never, and then the reason is because we don't have a tent. So I have never camped. Number five, Emily has never played a musical instrument. Okay, last one. I came to this part of the city once before, but I've never really explored it. Okay, so if we're done with this one, let's move on to activity two. Right, so if you need time, you can pause the video here again to if you want to attempt activity two here if you haven't finished it. Otherwise, let's go on. Right, so this one, every sentence is a question. So let's write the questions in present perfect. Okay. So first one, like example here, you have the word talk and then famous person. So the question you should ask is, have you ever talked to a famous person? Remember, all these verbs here have to be changed like we did with the first activity. Okay. So kayak becomes kayaked, pick becomes picked, play becomes played, watch becomes watched, climb becomes climbed, camp becomes camped, try becomes tried. Okay, so let's look at each one. Most probably all of them here will follow this pattern. Have you ever, right? So let's look at the first one is, have you ever kayaked down a river? Have you ever picked an orange from a tree? Number three, have you ever played the drums? Number four, have you ever watched a really scary film? Number five, have you ever climbed a mountain? Number six, have you ever camped next to a river or a lake? Number seven, have you ever tried horse riding? All right. So, okay, if you have got the questions correct here, so please write them down, okay? And if you haven't, or you have some problems, you have to do some corrections, please do so here, right? Please pause the video. Okay, so if you have done this one, now let's look at the next one, which is, oops, sorry, which is this one. Answer the questions from activity 2. So this one is your own answer, okay, based on here, these questions, and they must be true about yourselves, okay? Uh, if it's true, so use here for your yes answers, write when you did this. So example, have you ever talked to a famous person? Example given here is, yes, I have. I talked to a famous writer 2 years ago, right? That's an example. Okay, so I'm going to give my example here. Of course, it's true about me, and if it's not true about you, you should change it to what that's true about you. Okay, so like here, have you ever picked an orange from a tree? So I would say, let me put this in here. No. Okay, I've never picked. Okay, so no, I've never picked an orange from a tree. This is my answer. Number three, have you ever played the drums? Okay, no, I've never played the drums. Okay, so if this is not true about you, you should change this. Okay, if you have played drums before, you should write yes, I played the drums. Okay, when? Maybe last week you went for a lesson. Okay, I played the drums last week, or I played the drums yesterday. Okay, Number 3, here. Oh, sorry. Number 1 should be, have you ever kayaked down a river? Okay. And then number 2, have you ever picked an orange? And number 3, have you ever played drums? Okay. So number 1 should be kayaked down a river. Okay. No, I've never kayaked. So you should write the full sentence like this, okay? Don't just say no to every question, right? It's not an answer. You have to answer it correctly and in a nice way. No, I have never kayaked down a river. Okay, let's try number 4. Have you ever watched a really scary film? Okay, yes, I have. I watched it. Okay, I watched it maybe 5 years ago. Um, it's not really scary. It's just very sad at the end. It was scary in the middle. Then at the end, it was sad because uh, the person or whatever ghost that was haunting there was a sad ghost. Okay. Number 5. Have you ever climbed a mountain? Climbed as in no, I don't think so. Okay, so maybe I just say put no. I've not climbed. I have trekked up a mountain. It's not really climbing because there are steps for people to walk up, and then they on some parts it's just dirt tracks. Yeah, you trek up the mountain, but not really climbing as with ropes and all that. Okay. Number 6, have you ever camped next to a river or lake? Yes, I have in a jungle actually. It was next to a small stream. Not really next to, but it's very near to the campsite. Okay, so yes, I have. I camped. Um, okay, so I'll just put a number here, 2 years ago. Okay, because if I say 10 years ago, that would be too long. Okay, but the real thing is I have camped. That one was in school. That was very, very long time ago. I don't really remember what year was that, but it was an enjoyable trip. Next one, have you ever tried horse riding? Okay, so yes, when I was a child, yes, I have. I rode a horse. Okay, when okay, so my answer is I rode a horse when I was 4 years old. That was a long, long time ago. Okay, but yeah, I I have tried horse riding. Okay, so it's a small horse, so it wasn't very dangerous, and there were people around watching over the children. Okay, so all right, but anyway, these are my experiences. So if yours are different, write something that is true about you. If you have yes answers, you need to say when you did it. Okay, if you can use time like how many years ago, or like yesterday, or last week, or when, like this, when I was 4 years old. Okay, or when I was still in school, or when my brother celebrated his birthday or something like that. Okay, so just say there is a point in time in the past. Right. Okay, so if you're done with this one here, page 52, let's move on to the next one. Okay, here, let's look at the correcting the mistakes. Correct the mistakes in 3 of these sentences, which 2 are correct. So let's watch out for usage of ever and never, and also the past participles in present perfect tense, okay? Let's look at this one. First one, I've never joined a climbing club. So let's look at this one. You have I and then have never joined a climbing club. So looks like all the tenses and all the words are there. So this one has no problem. Okay. Oops. Should we tick? All right. Okay. So this is no problem. All right. Next one. I have to tell you. Uh, I have to tell this that this have never happened before. Okay, I have to tell you that this have never happened before. Okay, something is wrong here. Do you see the word this? So it's only one event, and then this one here is for a plural word. Okay, for a plural subject. You have, they have, right? These have, okay? Not this. This is just one. So have is wrong. You should change it to has. I have to tell you that this has never happened before. Okay, number 3. Have you ever cooked a meal outside? Under the stars? Okay, so it's a question. Have you ever, right here seems okay, cooked a meal outside under the stars? Okay, so the word have is here, the word ever is here, and the word is cooked is correct, spelled correctly. So this one has no problem. Ding, okay, it's correct. Number 4. Ayrton Senna was the best Formula One driver that have ever lived. Okay, look at the sentence here. Ayrton Senna is just one person, so you should look at this word. So only one person, you don't need to use have, you need to use has. Okay, so this one here is wrong. Number 5, I really like Call of Juarez. It's the best video game that I've never played. All right, this if this person is saying something that he really likes, that means he or she has played it before. That's why he or she can say whether they like it or not. Okay, so that's why this one here is wrong. Okay, not the word never. Okay, remember we cannot use the word never in this sense. It's a opposing, is contradictory, and it's not a question, so we cannot use the word ever. Okay, you just need to remove the word never here in this case. So let's check our answers. Okay, so number 1 is correct. I have to tell you that this has never happened before. Oops. And number 3 is correct. Number 4, okay, one person only, Ayrton Senna, was the best Formula driver that has ever lived. And the last one here, okay, he says here, you can use the words I have ever played. Okay, in this case, you can also say it's the best video game that I have played. Okay, or I've played. Okay, so both of these are acceptable. So here in this case, we can use ever in this structure, the best something something I've ever got or played or tasted, is to put emphasis on what, compared to all the other experiences, this one was the best. Okay, so that's the best ice cream I've ever eaten, the best video game I've ever played, the most comfortable shirt I've ever worn, right? So that type of uh, phrase. Okay. All right, next one. Vocabulary, past participles. Now we need to find the past participles of the verbs in the box. So again, we need to change this into their past participle forms, right? And find them in this puzzle here. Okay, so if you have trouble finding them or you haven't finished finding them, okay, you can pause the video first and try this part. If not, I'll just continue and we'll check the answers together. Okay, so let's do the first one. Okay, the word be is given. Past participle be is been. Okay, it's here. Right, let's try past participle of break. It's broken. Past participle of eat, eaten. Past participle of fly, flown. Oh, okay, here it's not correct. It should be flown. The whole thing is not highlighting correctly. Okay, flown. Right, the whole thing. Okay, grow, grown. Have, had. Okay. Make, made. Meet, met. Write, ridden. Send, sent. Sleep, slept. Swim, swam. All right. Okay. So I hope you got all the words. Let me just pause here for a while. So if you haven't got all the words, you can have a look at them before I move on to the next part. All right. Okay. So the next one is still on page 53. Let's move on. Okay, now we're going to complete the questions conversation with the questions from A to E. So A to E down here, let's have a look. Have you ever ridden one? Have you ever grown your own vegetables? Have you ever sent a message to the wrong person? Have you ever been on that site? Have you ever slept during a film at the cinema? Okay, so we're going to match these questions into the blanks here. So let's look at the first one. Rob says, hi Anna, and Anna says, hi Rob, what are you reading? Oh, it's a questionnaire from a website called timetotry.com. Right. And then what should he ask? Look at Anna's response. No, I haven't. Can you ask me some of the questions? All right. So most probably he's asking her, has she been on this website? She's seen the questions before. So the answer should be D. Have you ever been on that site? Next one. Okay, the first question is, okay, so we don't know the question here. And then look at Anna's response. No, never. But my parents have lots in our garden. Okay, so there's garden here. What do you think should be found in a garden? So it should be B. Have you ever grown vegetables, right? Your own vegetables? Okay, next one. Really? Here's the next question. All right, and then there's a blank. How are we going to find out? Anna says, yes, last week during a boring drama about a man and his motorbike. Okay, so let's see, what is the question? Number 3 is E. Have you ever slept during a film at the cinema? Right, so we can get the clue from Anna. She said it was a boring drama. So if it's boring, you will just sleep, okay? At the cinema. Number 4, there's another question here. Let's look at her response. No, I haven't, but I'd like to. What's the question? Okay, number 4 should be A. Have you ever ridden one? So because she mentioned motorbike in her previous answer, so Rob used that one to ask her another question, and her response is she hasn't ridden one before. Okay, next question. Look at Anna's response. Yes, once I wrote an email to a friend but put my mom's address on it. So she was supposed to send something to her friend, but instead she sent it to her mom. So what do you think happened? What's the question? Number 5, the question should be C. Have you ever sent a message to the wrong person? Right. So it's yes. Anna says yes. Okay. Right here, number 3, write questions with have you ever, with using the past participles of these words here and your own ideas, okay? So for example, first one should be have you ever been, and then your own idea here to a desert, okay? Let me try this one with my own ideas, but of course you are free to change them, right? Please do so. It's better to change them. So first one, fly. Let me get this one out. Okay. So have you ever flown? I would ask, have you ever flown? Oh, space is tiny. Okay, so I will use this one here. Number 1, have you ever flown in a hot air balloon? Hey, so I have not flown in a hot air balloon. I would love to try that one time, even though I'm terrified of heights. I would get scared if I go up in a balloon like that. Okay, number 2, there's a eat. So let's try something. Have you ever eaten? Maybe something strange or something expensive. Okay, so let me see what's expensive. Have you ever eaten durian ice cream? Oh, okay. Okay, that's one. Number 3. So you can change the food there. Have you ever eaten something, okay, something strange or something expensive or whatever that you want to ask? Have you eaten? Have you um, ever? Number 3, the word is swim. Okay, so let me think. Have you ever swum in a lake? Right. So have you ever swum in a lake? So this one is one. I have not swum in a lake before, but I have swum in a river. No, it's actually an artificial river. It's a swimming pool, and it has water from a river coming in, channeled into that swimming pool. It was very, very cold. I liked it, but the water was dirty. Okay, next one. Right. Have you ever, okay, ridden on something? Okay, maybe a horse or a motorbike? Okay, I would say, have you ever ridden an old, old Okay, so have you ever ridden in an all-terrain vehicle? So all-terrain vehicle looks like a motorbike and a jeep or a monster truck, but it's small and you have a handle in front with 4 wheels, okay? And then it looks like a cross between a motorbike and a jeep or something like that. Okay, I've not tried an all-terrain vehicle. It looks very fun. Number 5, okay, there's the word brake. Okay, so have you ever broken? Okay, maybe something important, right? Or something that doesn't belong to you. Have you ever broken a Okay, have you ever broken something expensive? Okay, this is my suggestion, right? You can change this one. Have you ever broken your toy or your friend's things? Yeah, I have broken something expensive before when I was still in school when I was young. It was my parents' thing, and I got really scolded by them. Okay, because it was expensive. Yeah. All right, so these are my ideas. If you want to, you can pause the video to write down the ideas. If you have your own ideas, please, by all means, write them down as your answers. All right, okay. We're done here. That's good. Okay, we're done. Hey, so right, we've done with part 1 of workbook unit 13. So now we're supposed to go to workbook page 54 to 55. Okay, so I'll put that in a separate video. So I'll see you in that video soon, right? Bye-bye. See you again.